what's on my mind, but it doesn't take a mentalist or anybody else to realize that we're all pretty much sharing the same thoughts, similarly on our minds. The past 24 hours or more have been very traumatic and in many respects quite critical in our history. But we need to look at history when we examine this, and that is this past year. After all, to have a major part of our government structure and housing interrupted without any protection and security, and with the violence and the destruction that ensued, plus talk about violence, the ending of someone's life. This is a very serious, critical time, except that we need to reflect, because the concern was that police were needed, that there were no police there, that there were not sufficient law enforcement, whether it be government or what have you, there to protect those occupying the building. Have we forgotten that the same scenario took place not once, not twice, not three times, but a number of times this past year? As a matter of fact, while police or some law enforcement were needed, in some cases entire cities were shut down. Not for an hour, not for 2 hours, not for 24 hours, but for 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, law enforcement? Yes, they were available, they were there, but they were stopped from protecting the American people by representatives of our government. Would you have believed that such a phenomena could take place? It isn't that the police were needed. It isn't, God forbid, that we were trying to get rid of the police in our culture. You will have people trying to destroy the United States and remove the word united by trying to remove law enforcement from our culture. And God forbid anybody, even for 30 seconds, takes such seriously. But one thing I foresee when we think of the past 24 hours and we think of similar incidents weeks and months ago, you're going to find that whether the issue was socialism, whether the issue was the conservative Republicans, or the opposite party, the Democratic Party, that the criminal protesters, the criminals who were protesting, some were the same people in both sets of instances. Talk about the need for law enforcement and the support for them. Let's just for the time being say, to be continued.